What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and welcome to Jaymoorereviews, Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Also, click that like button. And don't forget to support me on Patreon and PayPal. The links is in the description box below. Now, for those that aren't familiar with the show, I'm going to give you a quick rundown and catch you up. Now, this was actually a movie. It started off as a movie, Evil Dead, and then they made a part 2, Evil Dead 2. And in that movie, both movies was kind of a scary movie, but part 2 was a little more comedy, sort of like Freddy. And then in part 2, because of what happened with this Book of the Dead, he was able to go back in time through a portal, and that's what made up the movie Army of Darkness, which was part 3. And during the Evil Dead 2, he lost his hand. And so in Army of Darkness, the people helped create another hand for him, and he's been using that extra hand and interchanging it with a chainsaw, okay? And so now they redid it with Evil Dead, Ash vs. Evil Dead in Season 1, and also they made a Season 2. It took a year off, and now they're back with Season 3. This all happened about 30 years ago. That's when the first Evil Dead movie came out. Now, when the end of Season 2, he ended up going back to the cabin in the woods where it all started from the first movie, where they found that Book of the Dead. And that was back in his hometown of Elk Grove, Michigan. And so they went back in time and tried to stop his old self from reading from the book and get there first. They ended up reading from the book again. The book is made of human flesh on the front and it's written in blood. Of course, Ash, as the moron that he is, messes up. Evil comes back. Him and Pablo try to stop it, but Pablo has been kind of infused with the book, and so a lot of the book is a part of his body now. And then they had Ruby, who was on their side, but she came across a younger evil version of herself, and so the book was kind of coming back to life, and it ended up having the younger Ruby kill the older Ruby. And so then we had Ash and Kelly, and they somehow were able to destroy the book. The house, the cabin burned down, and the book fell inside, and it burned along with the cabin. At this time, Pablo was dead in the trunk of his car, but once this was all over and the cabin burned down and they went back in time to the current time, Pablo was alive again. And so when Ash was at the town hall, everybody thought he was a killer, but then they realized he was actually a hero. They had a parade for him and everything was great, right? Wrong. So we come in and we see Ash, and he's standing there and he's narrating this guy, and he's talking about, you may have known me as the hero, but now you'll know me as slashing prices. And so now he's got like a half-ass commercial infomercial. He's dancing, and he's got a hardware store now. It was his dad's. His dad is dead now, and so he's taking over, and he's talking about paint. We'll shake it, don't break it. It took your mama 9 months to make it. You know what I'm saying? And so then he's saying, hey, you love my nuts, lady. And she like, hey, what's better than a handful of his nuts? He like, grab my nuts. And so he's just trying to be funny and advertise for his chainsaw. He's talking about slashing prices. He's slashing, and then he's also got a sex emporium selling dildos in the hardware store. So, you know, I guess they got wood in all kind of different ways. And so it's under new management, and he's so damn cheap. He just put his name over his dad's old name. And so we cut back in, and he's just happy as a pig in slop looking at himself on TV, and he thinks that's a great commercial. And he looks outside, and there's a crowd of people trying to come in, and he's saying, hey, Pablo, this is going to be great. First thing first, always know your audience. He goes out there, he tells everybody, hey, come on in, make sure you get what you need. I'm slashing prices. And so everybody starts to pour on in. Everybody happy, can't wait. Then one thing that was on was the TV in the background. And what was going on is a fake-ass antique roadshow. And so they had this old school player with the he's reading from the card, and this lady comes up with a book, and somehow she found the book, and he's saying, what is this? She said, I found it in the mud. And so at the end of season 2, they show somebody pick the book up in the mud. Now we see Kelly, she's a bouncer. She done turned into a hard ass, and she's beating the dude up for eating pretzels. And then she was saying who changed the TV, and then all of a sudden she notices the Antique Roadshow dude is reading from the Book of the Dead. And so now she's tripping out. She's getting ready to make a call. And then we cut back to the Antique Roadshow that he's reading. He's saying, where did you find a book written in ancient Sumerian? And she's like, is that good? Is it valuable? And so he starts reading from the book like a dummy. And so while all of this is going on, of course, Ash is oblivious to everything. He's trying to flirt with old girl with the nice rack of lamb. And so she's too busy looking at the TV because it's looking like there's some extra going on. And so he's reading, and then it cuts to the scene where Evil's running through the forest. And so now he's continuing to read, and he's asking her questions, and now the wind is starting to blow inside the barn. Everybody's freaking out, and he's just so caught up into the book, he's not paying attention. And now Evil's almost at the barn, and next thing you know, it blows through. And so now he's getting a big gust of wind. He's getting a big blow job right there. It blows old girl away, and she's flipping through the barn. Then the cameraman drops the camera. Then the girl that Ash was trying to flirt with is just like blown away about what's on TV. And when Ash finally looks, he misses it, of course, and he's pissed about, hey, I paid for 2 more spots. So meanwhile, we see Pablito. He's got fish tacos. He's always wanted to eat a fish taco. I guess he had to make one himself because he wasn't getting it from Kelly. And then he gets a stomach cramp, and next thing you know, the writing from the book is back on him. They cut back to the barn. Everybody's chopped up, dead, and we see old school player. He's trying to run and hide and protect the book, and Ruby, all in white, is coming, and she's saying, give me the book. He like, no, you can't have the book. You shouldn't read, it's evil. And she said, give me the book. And so he's trying to protect it, and next thing you know, she just hauls off and cracks him upside the head so hard she knocked his eyeball loose, hit him harder than Tyson ever hit him. And so meanwhile, we cut to the high school, and we see these 2 girls, and they got to wipe off this graffiti. And then old boy say, you missed the spot. And so they a little pissed. We see Evil on the way to the high school. They sitting there smoking the Jilla, and they chilling. And then old boy that said Mr. Spot is standing there looking like a creepo. And so they like, what is it, Coogie? You need to leave. Whatever. And so he not leaving, and so they just starting to freak out, tweak out, and they like, okay, enough is enough, get out of here. And then he just starts bleeding from the eyes, and so now they really tripping, and now they done bled on the floor like he on the rag, you know, he need a Calgon take me away. And so they standing in the middle of the checkerboard floor. If y'all don't know about checkerboard floors, look it up. And so now they surrounded in blood, and then finally they decide to run after this Bloody Mary everywhere. And of course the doors is locked, they can't get out. Meanwhile, Ash is yucking it up with the people, drinking, having a big, huge little mixed drink right there. And then this woman comes up saying, you don't remember me, do you? And he like, no. He say some name, and next thing you know, she steals on him and knocks his drink loose. He trying to not spill that drink. And so she say, come in here, we need to talk, I'm your wife. And he like, wait a minute, lady, you got me messed up. I don't have a wife. She like, yeah, and your daughter's in trouble. He like, wait a minute, nah, I know you got me messed up, but wife and daughter? She like, yeah, the demons got her. And Pablo like, hey, she's telling the truth. And then he shows that his belly is come back tattered. He like, whoa, I told you to get that lasered off, bro. And so then they hop in the old Delta, the trusty Delt, and they on the way. And while they speed through town, we see some mystery man that's been having his eye on them. And so now Ash is trying to jog his memory, and he's saying, so where do I remember you? She like, yeah, you remember me? Candace Barr from Branson. He like, Branson? And so then he starts flashbacking, and now he's starting to remember drunk, wild, having sex, and then getting married, going crazy, hitting it in the back of the Delta, hot and steamy, hot and bothered, all in the back. And he like, whoa, wait a minute, Candy Bar? Oh, I remember you. But I'm calling BS on the daughter. I used my lucky rubber and I was 50-0 with that thing. Nasty ass. Meanwhile, they cut back to Ruby and she's inside this hotel room with the book. And so she's placing the book on the bed. She opens it up to where Ash's picture was as the chosen one, stabs her hand right through the middle and pours the blood out on the book and smears it all into where Ash's picture was, and then begins to eat the blood, just suck it all up. And next thing you know, she's cramping all on the floor, and next thing you know, she's got a baby, like a little alien baby coming out. Meanwhile, they cut back to the school, and Ash and Pablo and Candy Bar is walking, and she's trying to text the daughter, and then he sees the trophy case, and he goes through one of the old trophies, looks in the bottom, and a doobie falls out. He like, Maui Wowie, oh yeah. He gives it a sniff. He like, I'll save this for a special time. So they trying to find the daughter, and her friend is in the music room hiding behind the piano, and so they call her out, and she comes on out, hugs with the mom, and Ash is she's like, who is this psycho? Why is he here? They like, oh, I forgot to tell you, but he's your dad. She like, what? He like, oh yeah, the old sperm shooter, but you can call me Pops. And then next thing you know, the piano's going, and it's her friend. He like, stay back. And so then they cut back to the friend, and she looked like one of the Insane Clown Posse girlfriends. And so he pulls out the old boomstick, and he's ready to lay some lead, but then she flipped behind the drums, and so now she's playing a little drum solo. And so now the friend and the mom is scared. Then she gets the trumpet trying to blow a tune, give him a nice little blow, and she blows them all down. Well, blow me down. Then they take the drumsticks, try to poke Ash in the eye, throw the guitar at Pablo, try to, take his head off. And then they got the trumpet, and then Ash sticks the boomstick in the trumpet and says, blow this, and blows a hole through the trumpet. So then she takes the bass, the cymbal, and she tries to throw it and kill his daughter. And Pablo, the hero that he want to be, comes and knocks her out the way, but forgets about the mama, and she just gets decapitated, served on the platter. And so now Brandy is sitting there crying, his daughter, because the mama just got her head chopped off, got her head blowed off. And now they see her friend is playing the harpsichord, so Ash runs over there, kicks the harpsichord on top of her, and then he jumps on it while it's on her face. Then she's about to scream, and then he jumps up again and squashes it and slices her head open like it was, fine cheese and wine, and split it open like it was, a roast beef. And so then, next thing you know, that crazy mascot busts through the window, pull Ash out through the window, and so they fighting and everything. And then next thing you know, a can of spray, an aerosol goes in his mouth, and then it's shot up and it blows up. And what do you know? It's Kelly and the other guy. And so Kelly walks up, everybody happy to see each other, and he's saying, oh, great, nice to see you, and nice leather pants. And so they chit-chat for a second, and he say, who's the new guy? And then he kneels down saying, you are the chosen one. She like, yeah, he's a fan. And so then he like, okay, cool. Well, what we're gonna do is it's a good thing we're back. She said, who's the girl? He like, oh, that's my daughter. And Pablo like, yeah, he like, Mandy. She like, it's Brandy. And he like, oh yeah, we're getting to know each other. And so then he says, Pablo, say it like you mean it. The ghost beaters are back. And so they put their hands together, knuckle up real quick, and then she's happy and smiling, and he like, yeah, we getting ready to kick some ass. He pulls out the doobie, the Maui Wowie, like, yeah, this seems like a good time. And then he say Pablo, and he light it up. He like, Mandy? He still got her name wrong. And so Ash, this looked like this is going to be a good season. It was long awaited. I'm salty that they took a year off, but I'm glad that they came back. In the end, stay tuned, because I'm going to do the rest of this series as well. And I got a couple other ideas coming up. Don't forget to support me on Patreon, PayPal, subscribe, check out my other videos, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.